Yo, what's good, Bus? All right, what's good, everybody? It's your boy D Fat Stacks, and y'all know what it is today. Today's financial corner. We gonna do things a little different today. We're not gonna have any videos today, but I do have my notes today, so I did write down some notes. Everything's good, Bus, man. You know, can't complain. It's taking it one day at a time, brother. So, yes, I did start a little earlier, a few minutes early, so I'd figure might have a little time to go through a little bit more. So of course today the markets definitely went up today. For the last few days into last week, the markets were down. So it's pretty interesting to see the market bounce back the way it did. You know, everybody's looking for an end of year rally, but the S&P was up 1.78%. The Dow is 1.60%. NASDAQ 2.4 and the Russell 2.95. Even the crypto space got a boost today. So all in all, today was a good day. So with that being said, everybody knows that come next year, the Fed is gonna end the tapering in March, I believe is what they're looking at. But how many times they are going to raise the interest rates next year is gonna be kind of unknown. So it'll be interesting to watch. I possibly at least the first rate hike is gonna be sometime springtime, May, somewhere there possibly. So, but as we are looking for, once the Fed start the end of tapering and the rates are gonna raise, we need to start looking at stocks that actually have cash flow. That, you know, what I mean by that is companies that, you know, generate profits. You see what I'm saying? That can, with COVID going on, you know, they were able to still make record profits and everything. So obviously with the stay home, you know, Lowe's and Home Depot, you know, the housing is still high. And as well, you know, certain consumer staples, you know, when it came to like Walmart, you see what I'm saying? So people were cooking more when they were staying home. So with the new variant coming around, you know, you already seen certain countries already, you know, putting on some real stiffening protocols going on in certain countries. So as of right now, you know, I really don't know what's gonna happen, you know, here. But when it comes to the market, you know, you definitely some certain sectors have dropped pretty deep. There's some pretty deep discounts going on in certain areas. So I mean, it all depends on your shopping list and what you're looking to get. Now, obviously, I know a lot of people in my chat, a lot of people that I talk to, you know, they're not really going to pick stocks. They just want to kind of like blanket the market, which is what I suggest. If you're just looking to invest, I always say just blanket the market and be done. Then you ain't got to worry about, you know, all the other stuff. I just like to talk about all the other stuff just because me, myself, I don't really trade that much. I'm a long-term investor myself. So, you know, but we're going to move that right along, and we're going to talk about this right here. All right, I hope everybody knows that the layaway deal is going to be a thing of the past. I believe I don't remember if I talked about this before on the last I don't remember talking about it, but the layaway deal is going to go away. It's more like the buy now, pay later with Affirm. I know Affirm's the big one, but there's a few others. One of them start with a K, Karna. I forgot what it is, but pretty much there you have the whole buy now, pay later deal. That's the setup now because you're gonna be charged interest, pretty much. So, you know, a lot of places are getting rid of the layaway system, and the buy now pay later is what's in store. Now it's interesting because I came across this story and I want to let y'all know, people are already having issues, or not having issues, but running into issues with the buy now pay later financing. So as you look at the story here, let's see. Caroline Hunt had always a decent job managing her money and rarely bought things she could not afford. However, when the pandemic hit, she discovered buy now pay later financing. She found herself at home in her apartment in New York City making impulse buys online. I kept treating myself to things. 26-year-old Hunt is now one of the million Americans of millennials and Gen Z who jumped on the buy now pay later bandwagon during the lockdown with the e-commerce. In fact, this year's alone, consumers are expected to make 100 billion in buy now pay later purchases via tech companies such as there you go, Klarna, Afterpay, and Affirm. Okay, so I did say right. That's up from 24 billion in 2020 and 20 billion in 2019. By 2025, volume could increase up to 15 times its current level, according to And you know what? See, that's the difference between the layaway. The layaway didn't charge you interest. This buy now, pay later system is. So if you don't get it paid off in time, you're paying interest regardless. And that's how they're making even more money now. A lot of people don't understand that. Layaway didn't charge you interest. You know what I'm saying? So you weren't paying any extra once you put certain money down on your layaway item. You just had to pay for it at certain points. You weren't getting charged anymore. This now, on the other hand, is a totally different ball game, and it's gonna be like a credit card. Some people are gonna get themselves in trouble because all of a sudden you're gonna pay, and then that interest is gonna come and get you. You see what I'm saying? BNPL providers, which are infiltrating the retail market through partnerships with merchandise big and small, allow shoppers to split the cost of purchases in equal install payments, which is obviously for payments 25% of all transactions over a period of time, with the first due at checkout. There is nothing new about buying something and paying for it later. This is just another more modern flavor to it, with the new part being the ease of access because it's less regulated than standard credit cards. There is no interest fees or credit inquiries in a perfect world. That is great until one day it's not. That one day came to Hunt several times over. Not only did she overextend herself financially, which is common amongst the users with the buy up, but she was also hit with countless fees and had her credit damaged when she got behind in her payments. See? So it's just like anything. When you guys are going to use that buy now, pay later system, y'all need to go ahead and be careful. But I'm not going to read the rest of it. But it's just an example of, being financially responsible. Because I'm telling you, that whole buy now, pay later, man, if you're not careful, that's a straight setup. That can get you in all sorts of trouble. Just like if you don't pay your credit card on time when you get hit with the fees. All right, next story. IIPR. So now, got my notes here. All right, IIPR, the cannabis REIT, buys 27 properties in Colorado, Pennsylvania, and North Dakota, worth over $72.7 million. These properties are 100% leased for uses as regulated dispensing, processing, or cultivating. Now, you have all these big companies buying up properties and buildings in preparation for some of these states that are either legal medicinally or getting ready to be that are legal medicinally, and some of them are getting ready to be legal all the way, recreational. So eventually a lot of states that are medicinal, they're going to be recreational. So these companies are buying up these properties, these buildings, in preparation for leasing to, people. So because eventually people are going to need buildings to sell their product in, to lease, to cultivate and whatnot. And this is one of the things that I was talking to somebody about, and I'm like, yo, it'd be interesting to kind of see what's going on, get some buildings early if possible, because this eventually every state is going to be legal, medicinal and recreational. It's just a matter of time. And people are just going to vote the moment it hits the ballot, because people are going to be the ones that put it on the ballot, because they're the ones that are going to have to say, hey, we want this on the ballot, and they're going to vote for it. So if people vote for it medicinally and turn around and do it recreational, I mean, that's pretty much it. The only difference is the federal level, if they ever going to decide if they're going to decriminalize it and just make it legal federally. So, but whoever knows that will happen. But still, the whole point is, I know you have True Live down there in Florida. I believe it's True Live. Yeah, True Live has got a lot of buildings down there in Florida, and there right now, Florida is medicinal. So you have a lot of big corporations. Who else is? You have one company in Illinois that's buying up buildings. Well, they're not based in Illinois, but I don't remember if that's Canopy. I don't remember if that's Canopy or not, but as you guys see in the story, IIPR, if you guys, this stock is also over $200 a share. So as you can see right here, we'll look at what the portfolio consists. Let's see. The property portfolio consists of 24 properties located in Colorado, 2 properties in North Dakota, 1 property in Pennsylvania. 16 properties are leased to subsidiary of Columbia Care Inc. 4 properties are leased to they're leased to other companies already. 3 properties are Curaleaf, and 3 properties are leased to Livewell Holdings, and so some of these properties already had companies in them. So as the pioneering real estate investment trust for regulated cannabis industry, IIP partners with experienced regulated operators and serve as a source of capital by acquiring and leasing back their real estate assets in addition to offering. So, and this is what I'm saying. I said this before. If you're able to get your hands on a building, right? A good enough building, and your state is going to be, if your state is already medicinal and recreational is coming down the line, I mean, pretty soon all the big companies are going to own some of these buildings, because obviously they have the capital to do that. Regular people don't really, unless they bind together, pull their money and get a building and lease it out, because to me, I mean, to be honest with you, that's what I'm looking at right now. I would like to build a team and get some buildings in preparation for, because as you see, cannabis is $1 billion business. I did a segment on this on my YouTube channel, on this channel. You guys can go and check out the YouTube channel, but I've already did a segment on this about how much money cannabis is going to grow over the years, and it is a lot. A lot of money. And when it comes to leasing and getting buildings where people can lease and where companies can come in and they pay you that that rent. I mean, just saying though. But I know I think last week I had got into saying a few things about the cannabis industry, because it has been kind of quiet on the federal level so far, but on the state level, you still have states putting it on their ballots. Things are still moving along slowly but surely. So, but like I said, just this right here, is another indicator of how you have big companies buying up, because Curaleaf is also on the stock market as well. So that company is also listed on the stock market. So just the whole fact that you have these companies buying up these properties, getting ready to lease, and IIPR is a huge one of them. huge one. So, and I remember when it dropped, the IPO dropped. So I did a segment on that back then too. So, but for those, and those licenses aren't cheap. Hey, what's going on, Miss Smiley? What's happening? What's happening? How you doing, my dear? Hopefully you're having a good day. We just right now getting into the whole cannabis talk with IIPR, one of the biggest REITs for cannabis. They just bought 27 properties. So yeah, companies are starting to position themselves for the future. So cannabis is definitely big business. Definitely big business. All right, the next one, Oracle. Oracle takes a big move toward health with the deal to buy Cerner for $28.3 billion, and that's based out of Kansas City. So I remember looking at this. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people getting into healthcare. A lot of companies are trying to get into healthcare to expand their portfolio, and Oracle is no different. You know what I mean? So let's look at it. Let's see. Oracle said on Monday that it agreed to pay $28.3 billion for Cerner, a large electronic health records vendor. The deal is the largest ever acquisition by Oracle, a database giant, and a sign that some major technology companies see the healthcare as a growth opportunity. Y'all know why, right? Because with COVID, no telling how many different mutations there's gonna be. You see what I'm saying? And of course, the healthcare has always been a growing sector. You know what I mean? It's also a sector that's very, a lot of job openings in the health sector. So it's one of those deals where it's also strained on one end, you know what I mean? But also has growth on the other end. So, but for Cerner, the deal is not only a payday, but a merger with a deep-pocketed owner at a time of increasing competition and changing technology in the market for digital patient records. So not only is Oracle, that works out for Oracle, a database giant, grabbing up an electronic healthcare records vendor who's, okay, you get to use their servers, Oracle gets to do a few things, help Cerner out better wise when it comes to their data distribution. So, Cerner is number 2 in the electronic health records business with 25% of the market in 2020, which tracks the healthcare industry. Cerner was slipping slightly, and Epic had 31% of the market, was gaining, the research group reported this year. So, let's see. The digital patient record market, like most industries, is adopting cloud computing technology. Both Microsoft and Oracle analysis see the huge benefit, huge healthcare market as a path to strengthening their positions in the cloud business, in which customers tap into remote data centers and typically pay on a pay-for-use basis. Of course, everything is on a pay-for-use basis in that cloud. Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, sheesh, Cisco. A lot of things are going to the cloud where, you can have access from anywhere. And then, of course, these companies are making money by turning it into a pay service. Obviously, that's how they make their money. Okay, Miss Smiley, I see you reading up on the stuff on YouTube. Okay, yeah, cannabis is definitely if the federal government legalizes it, it's over. That's a wrap. But the thing is that the issue is, I think one of the issues that the federal government, if they do legalize it, it won't be no time soon. It might take some presidential pressure depending, but there's a lot of people locked up for offenses when it comes to cannabis, number one. And then number 2, healthcare is another reason, because cannabis is used a lot for certain remedies. You know what I mean? So you also have a couple of things there that people will fight on because of it. Like I said, the incarceration rate for cannabis, depending on what state you in, is pretty high. You know what I mean? So depending on where you at, and you have certain states that are decriminalizing it. So in my opinion, you might as well do it like alcohol when they had prohibition. You might as well just legalize it across the board. I mean, cannabis is a lot less dangerous than alcohol is. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can compare cannabis to cigarettes, and cigarettes are a lot more dangerous than cannabis is. Still, regardless, they both damage you depending on what you're looking for. Either medicinal is one thing, recreational is another. But I'm just saying, alcohol is a whole lot more dangerous than cannabis, in my opinion. So, should the government legalize it? In my opinion, they might as well go ahead. Every state is already doing it without them, so it don't matter. Well, as long as it's on the ballot for these states. So, but yeah, you guys can see, like I said, we had a big jump in the market today. So Cerner is up pretty good. Oracle, and Microsoft have been jumping out the window ever since. I remember when Microsoft was like 133. I've said this before. Like Microsoft was like 133. Now it's 300 and something. It's like, man. And there are a lot of buybacks going on. That's another thing I wanted to note on one of my notes. I do have some notes on my phone, so give me a second, y'all. So where is it at? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh, I guess I didn't save it. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of buybacks, a lot of company buybacks going on next year. So, which will also increase the stock. Usually when a company does a buyback, the stock price gets a boost. So, hence, the example I use is GE when they did a reverse buyback. Their stock jumped tremendously. Even though you got less stock, it was worth more. I mean, so, but I believe GE was a little bit down today, I believe. So, all right, next on, as you guys can see, cloud is big business. You know what I mean? Oracle buying Cerner. You have a lot of these big companies looking to absorb smaller companies to increase their stance or share in their respective areas. And you know what I mean? Like I said, with Microsoft and Amazon and Oracle, everybody trying to fight for that whole cloud space. You know what I mean? It's going to be a tight-knit competition with who's going to be absorbing who. You know what I mean? In order to diversify their portfolio for their company. So, like I said, it's interesting to see these companies and what they're doing after the fact with, of course, with the push of technology into everything. You know what I mean? All right, next, FedEx. Here comes the buyback. This was one that I wanted to highlight. Why? Because if you guys haven't noticed yet, shipping has gone up and it's not going to come back down. That's just my personal opinion. I think with the cost of fuel, and that's another issue. Because yes, barrels have dropped somewhat, but you're still going to have fuel costs when it comes to shipping. And of course, the backlog, even though I keep hearing that it's getting a little better, but I mean, I think until things clear up, like I said, I hear 18 to 24 months, something like that. From 4 months ago, I believe it was, when they started enacting the whole 24/7 ports in LA. You know what I mean? So, but I'm surprised. One thing I was surprised to know that I really thought you had other countries that were doing 24/7 port uh port work. I didn't know that that was 24/7 in the United States is just now getting on board with that. So they might as well collect on it. Yeah, I agree, Smiley. I agree. Every other person, some way, somehow. Yeah, that is true. But now, also too, now you're gonna be This is where, and this is where you have like Altria and Philip Morris. Those companies also have their hands in cannabis as well. So just because they make cigarettes don't mean they ain't gonna have their hands in cannabis. That's the one thing I notice about these companies. Just because they have their hand in one thing don't mean they won't dip their hand in the other. And also you have a lot of pharmaceutical companies too that are willing to get their hands in cannabis as well. And like I said, Philip Morris. So cannabis will be beneficial across the board depending on how you want to look at it, but you're gonna have a lot of hands in it. Hence why the licensing and all that is ridiculous and costs a lot of money. So if you're not if you don't have those connections to where you can get a license to actually open up a store and this and that, man, it's rough for a little guy to even try to get into that market because it's already going to be well established. Hence why I read IIPR first. So you have a lot of these other companies that are swallowing up these real estate areas, these buildings in preparation for. See what I'm saying? So, but yeah, FedEx is gonna accelerate their share buyback with Goldman Sachs. So, like I said, it's gonna be a lot of buybacks coming. As you see, a lot of FedEx, UPS have gone up with the whole shipping, with the whole fuel costs and everything. I know everybody's seen it. If you go ship something, it's a bit more expensive. Fuel is a bit more expensive. Getting certain items is more expensive, obviously, because of inflation. And this is why, the bond buying, the buying of the debt is going to stop in March, and they're going to increase the interest rate to fend off the inflation. So, but with that being said, that means money won't be so cheap to borrow. So if y'all planning on borrowing money or doing anything big, y'all better do it before they raise interest rates and get your rates locked in now. So before March ends, I suggest if y'all gonna do anything to lock in any type of borrowing, do it then, because no telling how high the hikes will go, depending on how the inflation drops, because we all know housing prices are still expensive, and if once interest rates go up, people aren't going to buy as much, possibly because because of what you're gonna have to borrow against and what you're gonna owe, what your monthly payments are gonna be. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, we'll see how that action unfolds. But next thing I want to talk about was Warren Buffett, his largest holdings. There's only 3 that I'm going to focus on in Warren Buffett's largest holdings, and that's Apple, Bank of America, and Coca-Cola. Obviously, Warren Buffett has never, he's not going to sell out of Apple. He has sold, I believe he sold shares of Apple maybe, but he's never sold a share of Coca-Cola from what I read. And of course, he's invested heavy in Bank of America. I got in a little bit of Bank of America when it's not like what it is now. I think Bank of America is like $43 a share. But when it was at 20 something, I got in, and then I sold it and got out like at 25 or 26, something like that. I had Apple as well, and I sold out of it. I hold Coca-Cola. So, and I keep buying more Coca-Cola. So if I can get it on the dip, I will buy Coca-Cola. So Pepsi's another one. But Pepsi is pretty expensive. But yeah, I think Pepsi's like over $140 something a share, and Coca-Cola's getting up there. I think it's like $58 a share. I'm not too sure. I'm not gonna look it up here, but you guys can look it up if you guys wanted to look up, what Coca-Cola is and what Bank of America is and what Apple is sitting at right now. But the whole point of it is, I use various, billionaires and analysis and look at what they have. And a lot of and a lot of the companies that they own, I've already done my own personal research. Like I said, to a lot of you who are just looking to invest and not really get into the real nitty gritty of the company and this and that, as I said already earlier in this broadcast, that you might as well go ahead and blanket the market. Don't even worry about it. You know what I mean? SPY, VOO, just to name a couple. Blanket the market and then call it a day. You ain't got to worry about all that extra. I just like talking about companies, and looking at what they're doing. Even I myself, I pick certain stocks, but I am also looking to blanket the market as well, a little bit further down the line. See what I'm saying? So, but it's always good to do your research on certain companies. You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are in the whole crypto phase, trying to make that money off crypto. I do also get into crypto a little bit, not a lot. I do my little sprinkle in the crypto and just kind of let it roll. So, but the stocks to kind of look at, the sectors that really need to be looked at in 2022. Obviously, I called this out way before when I got into energy heavy. I think 40% of my portfolio was energy in 2020. And now at the end of 2021, I've shrunken that energy into Exxon, Chevron, and MMP. The pipeline are the only 3 energy stocks I own. I got rid of all the other ones because I was just too overweight. And then I took that and I got into IBM. IBM was looking real cheap. So I got into IBM. IBM looks like it's going back up now. It had a nice little bounce today. I also I bought Citigroup today. They've been off their highs for quite a bit. So I want to try to get possibly some more Citibank stock before it runs up. I think at its high, was it earlier this year? It was at $70 something a share before it dropped all the way back down. So, I never buy a stock at its premium price. I usually wait for the drop off on its highs before I actually look into a stock before I buy it, because there's no guarantee it's going to just keep rising. So, I try to be patient and wait. So I did pick up Citibank. I picked up some Citibank today, and I also picked up some more Intel today. So slowly but surely, like I said, dollar cost average in, get in what you fit in. If you are doing fractional shares, it don't matter. Hence why I say to a lot of you that I know, when it comes to buying just specific stocks, unless you're looking to do all that legwork, I just suggest just buy the whole market and just leave it alone, because you're going to make out better than somebody picking single stocks. And that is a fact. I said that last week. I showed you guys a chart, showed you guys the videos of what the experts say about passive investing versus aggressive investing. You see what I'm saying? So, oh, you only did one time and never again. So, but that is all for me today. I wanted to keep it short, no videos today, but those are the stocks. Oh, my bad. I was sitting here talking about sectors to look into. So the sectors that you want to look into when it comes to next year, I think energy still has to play. If you can get in on certain energy stocks, like for example, like I said, energy was hit very hard in 2020. So when I got in, I got a lot of energy stocks. When I mean a lot, I mean my portfolio had 7 energy stocks in there. 7. Because they were so low because of 2020. And then little by little, like I had Sunoco, I had Seawind, I had EPD, I had Williams Sonoma, I believe. But I had so many. That's not including, I had Chevron still, Exxon, and MMP. And a lot of my energy stocks literally ran up in 2021. So when they ran up, I just sold the majority of them and just got into just very high end specific stocks. Obviously, Chevron is the best in the best of the stocks. Exxon is so, and MMP is one of the best pipelines you can have. So, but I wanted to kind of shrink down on the energy. But like I said, the energy sector is good to look at. Healthcare is another one, and we all know why. Come on. So, with COVID and with the variants that might be coming out, you're going to have these companies on their toes making, different vaccines whenever they can. So as well, if you look at Pfizer, I remember when I bought Pfizer was $37 a share. Now Pfizer is almost touching $60 a share. Pfizer is definitely is heavily discounted compared to its counterparts. So if you have a chance to get into Pfizer on when it dips, I think Pfizer is a good stock. Like I said, I have Pfizer and I also have AbbVie. And I got into AbbVie when it was 104. Now AbbVie's sitting at like 129, 127, something like that. But healthcare is going to be a big push. Also, I think financials are going to be a big push once the interest rates kick in. Once the interest rates start to rise, I think that's when the banks are going to really start to pick up. It's been kind of lackluster here and there, up and down with some of the banks. Well, I should say with the financial sector. I mean, because of course you got, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, as a whole, I think the financial sector is really going to take a liking to the interest rate rise. So, I would dollar cost average in. If you're just looking to buy, like I said, if you're doing fractional shares, putting in a dollar amount every month, it don't matter. If you're trying to buy whole shares, like, because you can buy little at a time, you don't have to buy a whole bunch at a time. Like, let's say, if it's at 172, let's say you buy 2 shares and you say, okay, you give it a month or so, then you buy a couple more shares. Like I always say, buy the dip, buy it when it goes down, because Apple's always going to go up. That's just, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Apple, I wouldn't be surprised next year if Apple hits over $200 a share next year. I would not be surprised. I mean, Apple is just a solid company to buy regardless. I mean, it just point blank. Me personally, I don't have it because I am trying to pick up other things on the back end, aka I'm trying to get into IBM more. I'm trying to get into, even though IBM is not even best in its sector, it's still a rebound story. Same thing with Intel. You know what I mean? The chip class is also a good sector to look at when it comes to, Nvidia, AMD, Micron, Intel. You see what I'm saying? Technology is only getting accelerated. So you're going to need all these chip companies manufacturing chips. That's going to be needed. As you can tell, there's a lot of things right now that are limited because they don't have enough chips to make. You see what I'm saying? So, but when it comes to buying Apple, that's not something you just trade. You buy it and you hold it for a long period of time. So that's you just hold that. You literally hold it. So, but those are my opinions on, what sectors to look at. Me personally, like I said, I done bought Citibank today. I got some more Intel. I'm going to try to get into more Citibank shares, because before the interest rates rise. So, but once again, that's my opinion of what to look for. And before we end the stream, we're going to do some shameless promotion as always. And if you guys don't know, at the end of every stream, I always try to talk about my anime site right here. So if you guys are looking for anime, check out your boy. We got backpacks. We got, you know, snapbacks. I just added a couple snapbacks today. I will be adding more hats as the time goes along. So I would like to get this site like with just a whole bunch of different variety of stuff. Of course, we have blankets, aka plush throws. We have quite a bit of those as well. So, you know what I mean? And before anybody says, oh, well, all that's expensive. Well, yes, it is a little bit expensive because between the fees I have to pay for the site and everything else. So I try to keep, and of course it's free shipping. So I do try to keep everything reasonable at reasonably priced because of what I have to pay in order to get the item out and what I have to pay for the item to bring it to you guys. So, but of course we do have combos. I do try to do a lot of this. Have combo sets. So if you guys are looking for sets where you can get a backpack, hat, and a blanket to go with it, a lot of it's obviously themed. So like I said, you guys check out the site. Of course, we have a lot of figurines. I do have a lot of figurines on here. So I'm not going to go through them because it's a lot of them. And of course, we do have plush, some on the cheaper end here. All the plush toys. And then, of course, can't forget the mugs. We do have mugs. So, a lot of variation of mugs. Some of those mugs are heat, that change colors with heat, hot and cold. As you can tell right here, that one right there, the Death Note mug. Of course, I will be adding more mugs when I can. And of course, also to the Funko Pops, I am trying to get a variety. I do try to put sets up there when I have the chance. So, but yeah. So of course, the Hunter x Hunter pop set that I do have. Of course, you're getting all the characters that are in the picture. So, but like I said, a lot of different stuff. I'm trying to bring a lot of different variety to you guys. So hopefully, you know, the store gets bigger. In the future, I will have a big brick and mortar, hopefully down the line. So I appreciate everybody coming through. Hopefully you guys have a good night. You know, that's it for today's Financial Corner. If you guys have any questions or whatnot, you already know, hit me up on the socials. You know, I'll do, if I don't know the answer, I will put you in the direction where the answer can be found. So, you know, hopefully, like I said, you know, investments, depending on what you're doing, there's always a risk to it. So if you're just looking to get in where you fit in, you know, I tell people this all the time. First order of business is set yourself a goal. Like, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do? Once you figure that out, the next step is, you know, you either want to have a financial advisor or you're going to do it yourself. So, you know, if you're going to do it yourself, it's one thing. If you're going to give your money to a financial advisor, they'll just do all the work. If you plan on, you know, if you just want to, you know, just to invest and just set it and forget it type deal, you know, get into an ETF. There goes your set it and forget it. No work needs to be done other than just put your money in the same ETF every month and just watch it just take off. So, but that is it for your boy. Y'all be safe.